Okay, everybody, I hope you can hear me. So here we are for our second half of our readings. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to do it on YouTube as I originally planned, but they have requested that they need more time to establish a connection for me, since it is the very first time I will be utilizing, YouTube for a broadcast. So they need to just establish some things there first, and hopefully the next time things will go well, so I'll be able to broadcast for you live, from YouTube. I'm so sorry about that. They didn't inform me of that earlier as I was reading through instructions, etc. But as I was actually trying to do this live there, then that prompt came up. So obviously I needed to learn a bit more about them or so. So hopefully, I did post on Facebook that I would be moving here for the next, let's say, hour, and that you'll come and join me here instead. If not, send some new people. If not, whoever, I'll try to figure out some program, here as well. So welcome to the second half of Readings on the Edge. This is going to be live on Zoom, obviously. And let's see if we get an audience to come over, to hear what they see, my message. So to give it a few minutes for that to happen. And I'm going to check my cell phone to check into Zoom. So that way, I don't disturb, breaking up between the camera one way or another here. So please bear with me as I check this out and see if anybody has seen this or so. Hold on a second. Now, this is all very new, so I can't expect miracles to happen, so quickly. So let me just check to make sure that that message is definitely on there. I'm so sorry it has disrupted, the energies a bit, for this. But let me check. Okay, so I have my message there. Okay, good. So that establishes that. So we were doing some lovely readings earlier for the first hour on Facebook Live. Had a nice amount of audience, and people coming and asking questions, and was able to provide, with the assistance and blessing of Spirit always, as they presented their messages, their symbols, etc. We did have a few spirits stop by for us. We're fortunate for that to happen, and to make their presence known. And some interesting things happened, in the past hours. I'm very happy about that, and more to come. And let's see what happens here. If not, hang out for a little bit, and hopefully something will develop, from here. I hope to do this next week then, from YouTube. Once that connection is established with them more, have to look at a little bit more about what I have to do in regards to connecting with them, also, and putting this all together so we can then broadcast live, from my channel on YouTube, Metaphysical Communion. So we'll have to wait and see about that. And I'll post along the way during the week, about that. But in the meantime, we are here. We are in spirit. We are in energy. And it's an interesting Friday night. We're expecting a lot of rain that helps, with spirit connection. And blessings as always. I've said that many times before in previous programs about the use of rain, water. The closer that we are to water, the more energy that it provides for more psychic, connections. And since we have a lot of precipitation in the air, I'm hoping that that does continue here also. So far, I'm the only one here on program at this time. Again, this is to be expected because this was so unexpected, to occur. But this is the way things happen sometimes. We have to go with what, comes through. And especially in 2020, we've certainly learned about having to, to adjust and to go with the flow, as they say. Or as my friend, psychic medium Holly likes to say, live with grace and ease, which is another term that I've learned, in the past year or so from her, how to navigate ourselves, during this most interesting time, on the planet. So we can't be forcing things or becoming angry about things or excessively agitated. Certainly does not going to make things better or improve it or force it, to be the way we'd like them. So we just have to learn a different way of seeing things, improve our perceptions, evolve our mind state, and just navigate through things, examine, explore, see, observe, think before reacting, and think before doing things, so that we do navigate through things so that we can get our goals and our accomplishments done. So that certainly has been a big learning lesson for me, and it has been very beneficial. I have much more to learn in regards to that, because sometimes I still tend to get a little bit agitated and when things don't go the way that I like them or planned, but it is a learning process. No one said it was going to be done instantly just because you hear it and someone provides you that education and, in this case, that gift. It takes sometimes a while for the person to adjust to that and to think it through and to see the benefits of this different way of thinking and of doing things, and see, the positive results that come from them. So that's lesson number 1 for this evening. So I am here to do live spot readings, hopefully. So far, I have no one who's joined me here for this. So again, this is unexpected. So I'll take a little bit of time here to just communicate in the meantime here, provide some information, some enlightenment. Certainly with the message I just provided in the last minute, that's one lesson to learn from this. And since we're talking about readings and spot readings, let me take the time then to talk about how this is done. And hopefully those out there will see this program and receive some enlightenment and hopefully some inspiration. There again, something, even if it's just one suggestion that I offer. If it is meaningful to you and you can apply it, then this program is worth it, right there. And basically, when you do readings of this sort, I mean, you really should be someone who has taken the time to study, about readings, about giving psychic, messages, about giving spirit communications. It isn't something that you just sit down after a few times or just read a little bit here and there, think, okay, let me give it a try and see what happens. You really should research and you really should study. And there's many, many books out there from many, many spiritual practitioners, some that are very well known, others not so, but can give sound and good advice from their experience. And a lot of times you'll see that when you're reading from several of these books, that a lot of it is very much repetition. They're repeating basically the same thing over and over again. One practitioner says one thing, you go to another resource, another book, and you'll see that they're saying basically the same thing, because there are basic protocols to follow when you consider doing readings or you're on your way in doing readings. And I've spoken about this in the past a few times in some of my various programs throughout the months. And so let's take a little bit of time since we have it here. I'm just monitoring to make sure if anybody joins so I can let them in the room. Let's take a little bit of time to talk about this subject and see if we can learn something from my experience and my perspective of providing readings throughout the years. Now, I've been doing readings professionally since 2002. So I have quite a number of years, and prior to that, I was doing them on my own, and to friends, family, acquaintances or so, because I always had a gift, we'll call it that, since I was very young, and knew that there was something in energy, something more there, and then finding out and reading and learning, up from others, I learned to develop this more and more. But professionally, I've been doing it since 2002. So I have a good amount of years already, doing this. And I've read for many, many people in many different venues throughout New York City, Long Island, and throughout some of the various states that I have visited and countries that I have visited also throughout the years. So as you do these things, you gain experience, you gain knowledge, you gain a familiarity with energy and the way it works. You gain confidence also, and you just basically learn as you go, and you never stop learning in regards to spiritual work. There's always more learning to come. You never stop.
a constant evolutionary process. It's constant growth. You always get more information. You always make more connections. You always learn more as you do this. So no one ever really is like a master, at this, because they too, and many people that you've heard of, from the media or so, they, are constantly honing their skills. They're constantly growing. They're constantly getting new information from spirit on how to connect, how to improve, how to fine tune their energies, their senses, their vibrations more and more all the time. So be prepared that once you step into this, it is an ongoing process. It never ends in regards to learning. So be aware of that. So with several of the key elements in regards to becoming a reader are: one, dedication. You must devote the time and the energy, to do this. Because if you don't, you really never will develop properly or well enough to go further and to open yourself up more into receiving more and gaining more connection, spiritually speaking. So it is dedication, devotion, number one. Secondly, it is belief. You have to believe that you can do this. You have to believe that it is real. And you have to, continue and move on with it and grow, which leads immediately to number three, which is perseverance. You must focus. You must, be, as I said earlier, fully dedicated to this. And it takes time for most of us to develop, to open, and to grow and flourish with this practice. And a lot of times it can be very frustrating and very disheartening, because we may feel that we're putting in all this effort, all this energy, all this time, and we really don't see much movement, or really don't see that we're getting to a point where we really want to be with our work and our abilities. That is when you have to really hold fast and persist and to persevere, move forward. Do not allow discouragement to get the best of you. At times, there may be what we call blockages, where we don't feel that we're moving ahead as we would like, or we feel that we're disconnected actually from spirit, as opposed to the opposite, which we're trying to grow. So from there, it's basically, you have to be steadfast. Do not give up. Do not become disheartened and disappointed, but just relax into it. Persevere, move forward, do what you have to do. In order to do that, that leads to number four, which is meditation. Now, meditation is a practice, obviously. The other three elements that I talked about, and I will call them elements, are from your own self, from your own persona, what you have to do. It's your character, your personality, you're there, and what you need, how you need to be. Here, in regards to step four, which is meditation, it's about now a practice, what you have to do in order to get to what you want to accomplish. Meditation is the backbone of spiritual development. I have said this many times in other programs and other lectures that I've given, in live audiences or so, individual readings or so. Meditation is the backbone to spiritual development. Try to develop a regular practice. At the beginning, especially if you're someone who's not accustomed to doing this, it can be difficult. But at least you can devote 3 days a week and devote at least a minimum of 15 minutes per session to just get into a meditative state. That will work wonders for you eventually. It may be frustrating at the beginning. For those of you who have minds that don't settle into meditation, who have difficulties quieting the mind, who feel that they have a lot of chatter going on in your mind, and you find, oh, it's impossible for me to shut that off. I have so many thoughts, I have so many concerns, so many worries in my mind. How am I possibly going to quiet my mind so I can get into a sort of meditative state? This, of course, is common for many, many people. What you must do, again, is to persist. Don't become discouraged. If you start doing meditation and you find that your mind doesn't shut off to all that conversation or all that chatter, that's all right, especially for beginners. You can't expect wonders to happen instantly. It takes time and it takes devotion, once again. So if you get into a meditative state at least 3 times a week or so, or more if you can do it, and you see that you have great difficulty, just don't give up. Continue. Devote at least that amount of time. Try to do it consistently, and try to do it. If you do a Monday, Wednesday, Friday schedule, please do that on those 3 days. Be consistent with your timing of your meditation. Choose time where you know that you'll have that quiet, time for you. Let's say, as an example, 9 p.m. If you know that you can Monday, Wednesday, and Friday find 15 minutes at 9 p.m. just for yourself in quiet, that's how you do it. Sit quietly, comfortably, have no distractions around you. No noise, no television on, no radio, no telephone. Certainly don't be in front of the computer, doing it, either, where you get distracted. If there are people that you're living with, try to have them, let them know that you just need 15 minutes of your own space for that time and not to be interrupting you, so that you have the quiet that you need in order to meditate properly. Sit in the same place at the same time period, be comfortable. Just, put both feet on the ground. I always believe that having both feet on the ground is essential for a meditation. If you're comfortable in a lotus position, because let's say you practice yoga or you find that easier to do, by all means, as they say, do that, whatever makes you comfortable. But just do that and just sit there, close your eyes, and do at least 3 cleansing breaths before you start a meditation. Inhale through your nose, hold it for a few seconds, exhale through your mouth deeply. So you inhale deeply, feel the air go all the way into your diaphragm, hold for a few seconds, and then exhale from your diaphragm outwardly through your mouth. Do that at least 3 times. That will immediately start to relax your entire body, your system. You will feel in time, if you don't feel it immediately, but in time, you will feel a sense of relaxation. You are telling your body, you're telling your system, your mind, your spirit, that you are quieting down, that you are connecting within yourself. You're making yourself present with yourself and the world. You will feel in time that change immediately. You will get a sense of quiet within, a sense of relaxation throughout. You will feel more present at the moment. When you do that, then you start into your meditation with your eyes closed and just simply breathe normally after that period. If you can do visualization, welcome that. Visualize anything that makes you calm, that makes you comfortable, that brings you peace. If you feel that meditative music will help you, by all means, use that as well. There are some wonderful meditation videos that you can find on the internet that can be very helpful for you, also in order to learn meditation and to utilize during a meditation. So that's one of the few times that you can actually use a computer to help you develop a meditative practice, because there will be there so you can learn from the lesson. Then there will be music that you can utilize, for your meditation, which will help lull you into that state of well-being. If you happen to fall asleep after an amount of time, you develop that you can actually fall asleep in a meditation, so be it. Let that happen. You should be more conscious when you do meditation, but if that's what gets you there for the time being, not always, but let it be. That means you're entering into a relaxed state. But you always like to try to be conscious, just relaxed and restful. If you use visualization, please do that. Visualize a space that is comfortable, that's peaceful, that's relaxing. Nature, the woods, a beautiful garden, a beautiful, let's say, temple or so. The sky is beautiful, night or day. If birds are chirping in your visualizations or so, use that. Use your imagination to the fullest in order to work with your meditation. That's usually a practice that you develop a little bit more afterwards, but just try to do that. At the beginning, just try to sit there for 15 minutes and just relax. That's it. No pressure. You have chatter in your mind, you hear your thoughts in your mind, let it be. Just go with it. Don't try to fight against it. Don't become frustrated with that. Just let the chatter. Let the thoughts in your mind just think. But at least you're in a meditative state. That in its sense starts to help you develop to get into meditation. And that in a way is a form of meditation, just by allowing that to happen. Just sitting there with your eyes closed, relaxed. That's your meditation right there for that moment in time. Just stay there for the 15 minutes and then come out of it. And then repeat the next time you do it. If you can meditate more, if you can meditate every day, these 5 days a week, even better. 7 days a week, lovely. But don't put pressure on yourself. What this does is that it makes you more present and it makes you more connected with spirit as you meditate. And then you start to receive thoughts that are not so much about the worries and concerns of your life, but about other things that might prove to be helpful. You may get answers to questions that you have. You may see images in your mind that could be very helpful. It doesn't necessarily have to be your imagination. That could be the beginning of spirit connecting with you. You can also start receiving information that you hadn't thought about before that could be relevant in some form later on, whether to yourself or to others, or to experiences that may be coming. That is your psychic development right there starting to unfold. And that is the way that you connect with spirit and start building from there. When you feel that you're more ready, you can practice doing readings. So you can connect, let's say with friends who are open to it, loved ones, your family or so. You may find people that will be very open to it just to help you with practice and start doing that, one-on-one. And hopefully you find a person or people that are open to this and would like to practice, help you out, or may even want to learn how to do this as well. They may want to learn how to read also. Like minds are always the best people to work with. And just start doing readings in that way as practice. In a way, kind of like for fun. And just do that way. For suggestions, you can also have a pad and a pen next to you and write down your impressions. Whether you do this on your own, if you meditate on your own and you receive information or messages or so, have a pad next to you and write down your impressions, whatever they may be. Do that in your spiritual practice with those that you are working with. Also, write down your impressions, even draw your things that you see. Many practitioners do this even before they start reading. They, start writing down their thoughts, their impressions. They start doing sketches of things that they see or that they're drawn to, and just start, automatic writing, as they call it. That's another form of connecting with spirit, or automatic drawing. What they see, and you have to draw it exactly you see it. Not everyone is a wonderful artist, but as close as you can, a reasonable facsimile of what you're seeing that you can prove later on to be quite helpful and might be making connections, also. This is how you can learn to practice in development, in doing readings and doing spot readings, especially in the beginning. And that's mainly what you'll do at the beginning, is spot readings. So you'll do fast, 1, 2, 3 readings. You just sit down with another person in front of you. Get into your state of openness as well. Whenever I start doing readings, before I do readings, I like to immediately just get into a quick meditative state. So as I just sit quiet for a moment, clear my mind instantly, do 3 cleansing breaths, open to spirit. As you develop, you can learn to communicate and talk to them as well. So you can ask, for their presence to come with you, to be of help to you, also with your readings, and establish a relationship with spirit or with spirits, also. And that's how you can learn to work with them in doing readings. That's a little bit more advanced, but these are just the first steps to help you become, a practitioner, a reader, in that way. So do baby steps, be patient. Don't, put too much pressure on yourself. Don't expect wonders of spirit immediately. Sometimes miraculous things happen and people just all of a sudden in one sitting or so, one thing or one attempt, incredible things happen all of a sudden. Why? Who knows? It's just meant for them to be. Others, it may take quite a while. It could take a few weeks, sometimes a little longer. That's all right. Be patient. As I said, persist. Do not give up. It can take a bit of a while, but you will start as long as you're devoted and you are disciplined. So that's step number 5. Develop a discipline, which goes along with everything else that I was saying. Discipline at least for 3 times a week, 5 times a week. If you want to start doing practice readings, at least once a week or so with someone or people or whatever. As you develop more into your meditation, just learn your meditation first before you move into the next step of practicing with readings, because it will help you, I assure you, and you'll be less frustrated. Instead of like, oh, I did meditation once or twice or 3 times, and then I'll just start with the practice. Step by step is the best thing. You want to raise your energy in the right level. We have to raise our energy up in order to connect with spirit. Always remember that we have to learn to vibrate faster when we are working with spirit. That takes some time to learn and to get accustomed to. Confidence is everything in regarding to readings. You must be confident that you know that you will be able to do this. A little bit of negativity, as my friend medium Josephine Giringeli taught me, you must have confidence. Believe that you can do this and that you will do this. And then it will start to happen. But if you have a bit of negativity, or you have negativity associated with it, you have doubt, even if it's just this tiny amount of doubt, that will immediately start to shut down your energies. And you won't be able to connect spiritually and do readings the way that you want. Negativity works very easily. That's why so many people are not able to do this and to connect, because they are either way too skeptical, or they don't believe, or they may think that they do and they can do it, but there's always a doubt in them that maybe not, or maybe I really can't. After all, there's something, I'm not good enough or whatever. I'm not reaching that goal that I want to. You start thinking that way, negativity works instantly to bring a stop, to this. That's the easiest thing to learn, but the most difficult thing for a lot of us to overcome. So be aware of that. When we're trying to work in this and not have negativity, that's where the work really happens. And it takes time, and it takes tenacity, perseverance, persistence to do, to grow, and to move. The negativity is very simple. It doesn't want to see you succeed. It wants to see you fail. It doesn't want you being connected with the divine or the light or the good of spirit. It doesn't want that at all. It wants the opposite. So it makes it very easy to fall into despair and disappointment. Remember that. It is having strength and inner being and inner belief and doing what you need to do, and it takes time, but you can do it. So devote, believe, be confident. Know that spirit is real and that everyone has the opportunity and everyone can connect with spirit. and grow and develop, and then wondrous things can come from it. So never forget that. That will help you move forward with all of this and work in the light of spirit. And miracles happen, also at the same time. And you'll get more incredible experiences happening for you and for others. You will see. So that's how you can start learning about doing readings and doing spot readings. Again, no pressure. Do not try to put pressure on yourself, because that again will start to shut you down. That works in the realm of negativity, which is the last thing that you want to fall under. Negativity, because then it makes you heavy. You won't vibrate on the energy level that is required to connect with spiritual force, spiritual light, with the spirits, and then you'll just be ending up very disappointed. And the thing is just not to fall into that at all. And it takes, strength to do that, to move forward and not to give up. But at the same time, you have to be patient and try not to force the experience also. It's good to be devoted. It's good to have the discipline, but trying to get it, I must, to stop there. Let's say, as an example, at 9 p.m., I must, do this at 9 p.m. And it's like forcing yourself to do things and whatever. And you sit yourself in the meditation, and you're so tight there sitting and just, I'm going to devote myself. I'm going to do this. I'm going to make myself and will myself, to learn how to do readings properly. And I'm going to do everything I can. And you may think that you're doing the right thing by being so strong and by being so impressive and like willing this to happen or so. But what actually happens when you're trying to strain yourself into learning and into doing readings and to be one with spirit is the exact opposite, because you're allowing your ego to get in the way, because then it's ego and pride. You're getting in the way, even as well-meaning as you are, as well-meaning as you may be. But by trying to force the thing, into being and to making it happen in that way, what you're doing is that you're diminishing your energy. You're doing the opposite. And in another sense, you are aligning yourself with negativity by pushing, by forcefulness. It's almost like a sense of almost like hostility and even anger that comes in, like, I will do this. I will force myself to learn how to do readings, how to become a psychic, how to become a medium. It does not work that way. You cannot force yourself to become a psychic or to become the world's greatest medium. It does not work that way. You put in that impetus of force in that manner, which aligns itself with negativity and ego, instead of making yourself, a good and professional practitioner of psychic readings or mediumship. You're doing the opposite. You're diminishing yourself and you're not connecting the way you should. And then what ends up is you become frustrated, and then you may even get angry because I'm making all this effort, I'm making all this time, and nothing is happening. It does not work that way. You have to relax. You have to be peaceful. You have to be open. You have to ask for help and guidance, and you have to believe and have faith, complete faith, that it will happen. It will do what it needs to do for you, and you will become a reader, a psychic reader, a medium, whatever you aspire for. But you have to be devoted, and you just have to give into, you have to surrender to it. You just surrender, give yourself to it, and the rest will come. So do be devoted, do be disciplined, do focus, but don't force it. That's the thing. And the rest will come from there. And patience, it does take time. So you just have to sit back, just do it, be devoted, and then things will start to happen from there. It sounds simple in a way, but it's also the most difficult thing that for many of us we find, to do. But it's the way. It is the only way. If you're lucky enough to join a class or a group of teachers or whatever who, do teach, psychic development or so, make sure that they are quality people, that they have good results. And there are many of them out there. I've seen so many of them in the internet, it's not even a joke. But that doesn't mean that all of them are really accredited or really, quality and good at what they're doing. You want to get a good reputation. You have to pay more money for it, of course, and be well. Sometimes you don't have to pay exorbitant amounts for some of these classes or so. You need to get quality mediumship. And I know some of my friends who are excellent mediums who do classes, and they don't charge, as they say, an arm and a leg, to attain money, for themselves. They do it because they want to help others. They do it because they are devoted to educating others how to do this right, correctly, and to open spirit for other people so that they can live in a peaceful, wonderful, and open existence of love and spirit. So they are out there, and you just need to find the right ones. And as long as you devote your time and make the effort properly, you can open and you can develop. Again, some people, it may take more time than others, even with a good teacher or teachers. And not everyone gets to a super wonderful level either. But as long as you follow the instruction and do it right, you should develop, and you should really increase your energy and establish a connection with spirit. So those are ways that you can learn how to begin becoming a reader, and how to learn how to read for others, and how to be helpful, and how to connect and align yourself with the divine force of light and spirit. And it will make such a change for the better for you, also. And you'll feel more present in the world, more connected. You'll feel a sense of knowing what is good and what is right. And it should give you more of a sense of inner peace and eventually happiness, for those who are seeking that, also just to find peace, to find a sense of contentment, to find happiness within themselves and with their lives. And that's what spirit, and that's what even providing readers and becoming a reader can do for you. It can really just open you up and help you to be the person that hopefully you are meant to be, and be content and be happy in that way. It's one way of attaining happiness. It doesn't say that it's the way. There are other people who find other ways to find their contentment and joy in their lives, and they do it. And they're quite, happy, in that. And we hope that it's all positive, obviously. So this is what these are the basic foundations of learning about, becoming a practitioner and learning how to do readings. So I hope that what I've talked to you about this evening has been helpful for you, and that, that it's just something to think about, something for you to contemplate, and take what is relevant, from this, and use it, hopefully, or hopefully it'll inspire you. And if it doesn't ring a bell for you, resonate, that's so be it. That's the way it has to be. There may be some other method, some other form, hopefully working in the good and in the light, that you will find helpful, in teaching you how to develop and to open up, to spirit. So this is just a very basic discussion, here with a few tips, I'll call it, and experiences that I've had and ways that I've learned to develop. And I'm constantly developing more and more and learning to become more devoted and to open, to it. Sometimes it's frustrating even for me as well, as I'm sure for other practitioners. We don't always establish, a connection with things, and even providing readings, even as a professional. Sometimes we don't establish the connection that the person, the sitter, would like to have. Sometimes they don't get their question really, really answered the way that they would like, or it doesn't come through in that way, or they're asking for someone to come through from spirit. And the psychic, the medium, isn't always able to connect with that particular spirit, because that particular spirit is not available, or is not, for whatever reasons, not really coming through, or just giving bits and pieces of information or energy or so, or messages. we can never guarantee that that person's going to come through. Very, very few practitioners on this world who do this work have such a high level of energy, such a blessed gift, a connection to spirit, where they can pretty much, tune in, and that particular energy, that particular person in spirit will come through, and with wonderful messages and with wonderful validation, and give their names and give their age and give what they did in their personality, and tell you what you were doing yesterday at whatever. So, and just to give you confirmation that they're there. It isn't every single psychic, or certainly every single medium, that can do that. Those are the minority, not the majority. Be aware of that. Some people are just blessed. Some people have devoted a lot of time and effort also, and it has worked because they've done it right. And some may be very devoted and may put the effort, and for whatever reason that spirit decides, they never really are able to develop more than what they can. It's just not in their life path. So always remember that too. But we can always aspire, as I am doing, to develop and to grow and to connect more and more. What I can assure you of is that more that you do this, the more devotion that you have to it, the more of a stronger connection you will have. You will develop. You will get more. From that is for sure. You're not going to stay in the same state or go backwards and lose it, unless if you don't do things correctly or don't work in the light. So be aware of that, as well. It's about being true, working in the good, being realistic, being skeptical, also, because we should be skeptical, even as practitioners, about things and how we work and what we're getting, and is it real, is it not, or whatever. Learning how to discern, very important. What is imagination as opposed to what is real, and what is a real connection spiritually? Most important. That's another step to learn as well. Discernment, also. So you can't let your imagination run away with you and think that things are, and then they're not. So you have to learn to be grounded when you do this type of work and be real. Also be honest. And that will help you get through. Another thing to do in the realm of realism and groundedness is be honest with yourself, also. And that could be very hard for a lot of people, because so many people are wanting so desperately to be able to do this and to do it right. And sometimes they're very well-meaning and wanting to provide messages or services, but it's not really happening. They're not truly connecting the way that needs to be. And again, they may delude themselves without even meaning to or so. So this is where you have to learn about being clear with our mind, being honest with ourselves, and being truthful, not only to yourself, but to your sitter. Also, if they ask you a question, you're not getting exactly what they're hoping for, you have to let them know it, that you're not connecting, you're not receiving, you're not getting it. That's the most important thing, because the more honest, the more real you are, the more spirit then will come to you and grant you that connection and get you the real, or they will tell you, they will provide the true information from spirit. That is what you hope for, and that is what the sitter especially hopes to get, so that they can receive their answers, hopefully receive relief, receive whatever it is that they're looking for. Relief, answer to questions, release from worry, from trauma. That is the most important thing, to be honest and real with this work. That develops in time. But I throw that in because it's for you to know this as of now, so that you start on your path on the right way. So again, I hope that you found, some of these, things I've discussed relevant, helpful to you, and just, go forward. Use these, these tips that I've given you, these steps to take, and hopefully it'll give you encouragement to move on and to practice properly and to learn more on your own as well.
And I just hope that you develop the way that you desire, and I hope that your dreams in this field of spirit come true for you. So with that, blessings to you. And in the future, I'll perhaps do another programs like this, to provide more advice and more words and more encouragement, for your spiritual development. So have a lovely weekend, a good night, a nice long holiday weekend here in the United States. It's Martin Luther King birthday on Monday. So many people will have the day off, including myself. So I'm looking forward to that. And, just hopefully all the good things that you desire and wish for, will come, true for you eventually in time. So on that note, take care. Blessings to all of you, and good night, everybody.